Hey everyone, James from TDB here, bringing you another Inbetweenisode. Today we have a big blue pot episode. Don't crank these out as much as I used to, and part of the reason is, it's just not that interesting to see me talk about some old, some ripe tea or whatnot. And I think there are more interesting topics and angles to cover. Nonetheless, I want to do them now and then. So for those of you not familiar, this is how I brew tea in the morning with my wife, and it tends to be very casual. This is how I consume most of my ripe, a tea that is much consumed and not quite as talked about. So what is the tea today? We are talking about one of the original Taobao gambles I did over a decade ago. I think it was 2014, 2015 where I actually did buy this. And so you can find a blog post titled Mo Shoops by Half Dipper, which is a blog that really focused a lot on Pu'erh reviews that has not been active for quite some time. Very, very prolific in the day. I read it quite a bit back when I was getting started. It was that and Hualian. And I think Hualian has stuck a little bit more because it's a little more topical rather than specific reviews. But nonetheless, it's easy. It's nice to revisit some of those posts, especially when you come back to a tea, just because it's kind of like a nice frozen in time review of how the tea was when it got started. A little bit less interesting when it comes to ripe. Nonetheless, I got turned on to it from there, and I was like, okay, well, this is like $15 on Taobao, so why not gamble? So I drank it a bunch when I bought it initially, and it kind of lingered around. I didn't consume it for many, many years, and so more recently, I have been kind of clearing out and just tidying up my ripe stash, trying to get things a little more settled. And so I was like, well, if I'm never going to drink this stuff, I need to drink it now or give it away or something. So this is one where I was like, okay, maybe I'll give it away. Tried it. I was like, well, actually, this is pretty good. This is pretty good ripe. And so it has made its way into kind of my regular rotation as being the tea that I drank through for the past few weeks or so. And we are looking at a finish cake here. So the 2012 Hualian ripe. I checked. I could not find this on Taobao, but we're going to give this a couple steeps here and send it off on its way just because, we have a finished cake here. I'm going to boil this water again, do one quick steep, and talk about the tea a little bit, and then wrap it. But I do think this tea is a little bit, quite a bit above average, actually. I've enjoyed this a bit more than some of the other ripes that I have been trying to finish off. And if I'm really not feeling something, ripe is cheap enough that I will just readily give it away or give away a chunk to someone or whatnot that I know actually drinks ripe. Don't give ripe to people that don't drink ripe, though, because it just doesn't make sense. So, but luckily I do have quite a few friends that do drink ripe quite a bit, so it's not the hardest thing for me to give away. So nice, thick, dark brew here. So this tea has been with me for a while. I've been Seattle stored for a while. I don't do anything special really with my ripe storage. It's just stored in this little cabinet over here. Sure smells like ripe. There's a little bit of the antique wood sneaking into this tea, which is interesting. I like it when ripe develops. And I actually do kind of enjoy the evolution of how ripe just, slightly subtly changes throughout time. A lot of my favorites are kind of the more aged ripes. Not necessarily because the aging does a lot. I think it does some, but also because I just like the ripes that were made, especially in the kind of mid-2000s-ish. Cheers. Woody, chocolatey. There's a nice big body. It's just a very sturdy tea, I would say. It doesn't really do any sort of reinvention of the thing. It's very conventional in terms of its ripe, but it does everything pretty well. And I would say that the quality of the material is clearly a bit better than kind of your average numbered recipe from somewhere like Dai or whatnot. A little bit about Hualian, just the operation. It's kind of one of those, as far as I can understand it, old school operations. It's been around for a while. They have some very famous productions from the 90s, the Hualian brick, 97. There was a Hualian brick from 2004 that Taishan He sold not too long ago that kind of has this nice smoky old school taste to it as well. This is a nice solid tea. Getting some vanilla character to it too, a little bit of powderiness as well. I do think this tea might even be better gong fu. I did do this gong fu a couple times, which is not my norm for right, and it's pretty good like that too. Alas, it is totally unavailable, but I thought this would be a fun one to do, just because it's been around for a long time, sitting there, and I have yet to bring it on to an episode. I thought I brought it on to one of the very early In-Betweenisodes, but it turns out I did not. So here you go. So thank you all for tuning in. I will see you all next time. Cheers.